Hey, I'm Aidan from daysormay. Yeah.
Yeah. Hello, Aidan. Yeah, I told him not to say anything after that, and I left him hanging there. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Thanks for coming on the From the Inbox podcast.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure to have you for sure. And the reason why I'm sitting down with you today is because you and your band just put out a new music video, new track, and announced an album that's coming out very soon as well.
Yeah.
So first off, I guess let's just talk about the most recent video for Ego, which is pretty cool. For people who don't know, actually, let's take it one step back even further.
Sure.
Let's say somebody doesn't know daysormay, the wonderful three-piece out of Vancouver. Who are you guys? I know two of the members aren't here, so you can speak on their behalf if you want.
Sure, yeah. Well, we're two twin brothers, and me. We've known each other for most of our lives. It's me. I sing and play guitar and keyboard and stuff like that, and ukulele. And then we got Nolan Bassett on the bass and the keys, and then Carson Bassett on the drums and programming and stuff like that. So it's just three dudes from a small town in BC called Vernon, and we're all living together in Vancouver now, just trying to make music and be a band.
Yeah, and doing a pretty good job at it too. Because
thanks, man.
Yeah, your sound. I remember I first was introduced to you with the song "Role Model." Features Tessa Violet, which is a co-label member as well, or roster member.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's just like such a cool, futuristic but alternative, and just such a rhythmic sound you guys got going on. And I'm kind of curious because, like you said, you guys have known each other your whole lives. Do you remember how you became friends with the Bassett twins? Do you have a little origin story?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of something that was really big in both of our lives. Was from like a young age was cross country skiing, like Nordic skiing. There's a big scene for that where we're from, so we kind of started really early, like we were like maybe 6 or 7 years old. And I think the first time we ever met, we must have been like 7, and we were just in the same, I think just in like the same ski group. And our parents kind of knew of each other and stuff. And it was like just this proximity thing, and just kind of met. Yeah, just from that relationship between the parents and with the skiing. But I didn't start playing music until maybe like 3 years later, just because there was nobody else that wanted to play music like in the way that we did. So we just kind of ended up being drawn together, basically.
Do you remember one of your first songs that you guys ever wrote?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Did it make its way onto the new album?
Yeah, no, that would be pretty funny, but it was trash.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's always the case. So like especially like what, 12 years old, I can't imagine. Yeah. And you guys have spent a lot of time together, like in middle school and high school, obviously, because it's a smaller town and stuff. But what's really interesting, I thought, is a lot of these tracks that you guys put out recently were heavily influenced by, your experience kind of going through these rites of passage, like, graduating high school, and stuff like that. At least was that Everything Is Changing was kind of based off of a post-grad camping trip. I'm kind of curious, like, what was the enlightenment out of that situation for you?
Like, what did I get out of it?
Yeah, like how did the trip kind of inspire the song and everything?
We graduated in June 2017, and so the trip was like in July, I think. And it was just, I don't know, it was kind of weird. I knew basically my whole kind of thing, which has kind of gotten me into some weird situations, is like since I was 10, this is what I've wanted to do, and haven't faltered on that.
That's amazing. Yeah,
thanks. Yeah, but it's been kind of a pain in the butt sometimes, but like socially and stuff. So I think like I always knew what I wanted to do, and I was like, as soon as we get out of high school, that's what we're doing. Obviously, I had no questions about that.
Mhm.
No doubts about that. And we got out and it was like, okay, cool, time to go. But then it was just like this feeling of like, I think when we were talking about the song, I said like feeling of like swimming over the deep end, like off a drop off. And suddenly there's just like this huge expanse below you and all around you. And you don't really, there's not as much of like a solid ground to kind of anchor yourself to. Um, and so, yeah, it was just this feeling of like, oh, cool, I know what I want to do, but I'm also like terrified. And if for some reason it just feels like it's scarier now and it's like harder to do. And it could go either way. Whereas for some reason in high school, it didn't feel like that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's kind of where it started, I think, lyrically with the song. And um, yeah,
Yeah. And so I think it's really important for a lot of young people is that transition from high school to the real world. It can be, like you said, it feels like there's nothing at the bottom, not even like a solid spot. I could just feel like a vast emptiness.
yeah.
And I'm kind of curious. I know you said it was like some very uncomfortable conversations with quote unquote adults, and I'm just kind of curious about your experience, like maybe a bit more specifically on like how you decided to, you know, stay true to your guns and fend off these. I don't want to say haters, but yeah, I guess ne'er do wells or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of care what people think, but at the same time, I don't care at all. So it like at the time it was like it was frustrating that there was that people what was frustrating me was more that people were spending so much energy and time trying to tell me to, be a doctor or a lawyer or something. And I kind of just it got frustrating enough that I was like, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna like use this energy and just put it back into working towards this thing and make a song out of it or whatever and try to level up. So I mean, it helped to eventually get like a bit more of a team behind you, because then you could be like, yeah, well, have a manager, so I'm not like a lost cause totally.
Yeah,
um
it shows people are willing to support you and stuff. So
yeah, so I mean, yeah, it was, I guess, with when we wrote Everything's Changing and that first kind of few months of being out, that was scary. But writing the song um kind of was what helped me get through it and deal with it. And I had a pretty good like support system around me, and we were lucky to have Joanne, our manager, and everybody kind of helping us move this forward. And the goal was to go somewhere with it. So um it didn't feel like I was totally out there alone, which is cool. So um yeah, I mean, those conversations got with those adults, those awkward conversations got less and less, and now it's more of a, oh, cool, you're still doing the music thing. Like, it's not like, oh, you should be a lawyer now. So it's calmed down. It's good.
yeah, you kind of, I don't want to say proven yourself because you don't really have to, prove your status to anybody, but yeah, it's kind of almost like showcase that they were kind of wrong in a way.
Yeah, that's I hope so.
Yeah. Was it,
uh,
did you find that it was like, I feel like too, was it family that was, you said the family's pretty supportive about it. It's mostly like, I'm sure teachers and strangers and
yeah, which was great. Like, it was lucky that my family pretty much, yeah, I don't think I ever had a weird experience with anybody on any part of my family on that. It was more, yeah, teachers and like people I went to school with, parents and stuff like that. Or just like random people that I barely knew, just like asking me about what I was going to do after high school. Um, yeah, uh,
did
it's
you ever
frustrating.
like, did you ever have those days where you were like, oh wait, maybe I should go to university or something? Did you ever have those like
No,
doubts? Wow.
uh, no, it's just not my thing.
That's
I don't
awesome. I
know.
love the
I think I've
confidence.
been, thanks.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think I've been blindly confident like about that since we got into it. I think I just um I don't know, I just kind of never really, the more and more I thought about like that kind of like cycle or like that path that a lot of my classmates were going down, a lot of my friends were doing, it got really depressing, and I was like, I can't see myself doing that at all.
Mhm.
So yeah, I've never really ever felt like I had to, and I never felt like, um, I'm open to the possibility of like doing that. I would like to maybe eventually, I don't know. I like learning stuff, so I wouldn't be opposed to it eventually, but yeah, not it, just not really in my immediate future.
That's fair. Honestly, I think that's one of the. I was on a friend's podcast recently too, and we kind of got on this subject as well. And like
Mm.
I graduated from university 6 years ago,
Hmm.
and you know, I think it's a good decision for a lot of people to go through, but at the same time, like taking some time off to really, figure yourself out, or in your case, like chase your dreams and make them a reality. I think that's more valuable than, adhering to the societal norm of you must go directly to, don't
Yeah,
pass go right to jail kind of thing for 4 years and
yeah,
spend
exactly.
absorbent amount of money. So, and I know you guys are very obviously it starts going back to your country skiing. I didn't know that about you guys, just being
Mm.
outdoors a lot. And I find that you guys seem to really pull from nature as a big influence for a lot of your,
Yeah.
your songs, especially your music videos. Um, just being out in the wilderness too, and that, outside of Vernon on that trip, how much did that play a part of your writing process and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super lucky to have grown up the way I did, and my parents were always huge into the outdoors, and still are. My dad, especially, is like a mountain glacier climber, kind of like rock climber dude,
That's
trail
awesome.
running kind of thing. Yeah, so it was like a big part of my childhood, and he always kind of showed me this appreciation for being, especially in the mountains, and yeah, just like out in the real wild, like expanse where there's like nothing around you and you're so much smaller than everything, and it makes you kind of insignificant, um, just compared to the sheer size of like the nature around you. So that was always like a huge thing for me, and I think that's probably a huge part of why I write songs, was getting to be out there so often and be in like total silence. And yeah, I think he always said when you're out in silence like that and you can kind of just sit and be totally quiet, you can kind of hear eventually, if you listen to yourself, you can hear how you really feel, and what you really want to do and how you really think about things and stuff. So I think that's the reason I write songs probably still. And I still go looking for that sometimes when I feel like I need a booster or a refresher or something. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you find that like do you remember that moment when you were younger when you decided like making music is what I want to do for the rest of my life? Was that kind of related to that sort of um I guess nature awakening sort of thing when you guys were younger?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't total. I used to think it was be really cool to like live in a city and stuff. So I wasn't
Small
like,
goals, yeah.
yeah. And now I live in a city, and I'm like, I just want to go back to like being in a lake or like a forest or something. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's pretty vivid memory for me to be, um, like with the first song I ever made. I was like I wrote it and I was so stoked about it that I had to like go move around. So I was like out in the backyard, just like thinking about music. I think playing with my dog or something, and just being like, wow, that feels like really good to like. Um, it was like my first kind of emotional outlet, I think, and I needed
Okay.
one pretty badly, I think, at the time. So yeah, I was just like, oh, I if I can keep doing this, then like that's all I want to do.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's always interesting, like especially as kids, I find you you don't really realize it until much later, but that's kind of when you start to realize that trusting your gut is very, very important.
Yeah.
And especially as a creative type, I'm sure that, it's kind of coming more clearly in your brain where it's like, oh yeah, like I kind of knew what I wanted and knew what I was doing younger, at a younger age. So that's awesome. And with, you're talking about in high school too, how it was kind of a difficult thing. What did you mean by, kind of socially
Mm.
difficult, want to be in a band and stuff?
Yeah, I think I mean, yeah, like I said, we were really lucky to have um the support like from our parents and stuff, so I was never really questioned at home about it, which was cool. Um but it just was like a weird thing, especially um towards the end of high school when people from universities start coming to like recruit you or like talk to you about career career paths and
Choices and
stuff
stuff.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Yeah, so just some not great, not comfortable conversations with grown-ups, adults, and like yeah, and you know, trying to have like I mean, I was like a kid, but like trying to like be in a relationship with somebody or like you know, prioritize things in a healthy way. Um Nothing really was, I was never really able to put anything above music. So besides like my own family. So yeah, it just made some like super uh not super fun situations, but I don't know. I was kind of, I accepted that. I kind of felt like that was the uh that was what had to be done, you know. So I maybe made me look like a bit of a sociopath, but like but I was okay with it. Yeah.
I feel like most musicians secretly are sociopaths to some extent, where it's like, I only
Yeah.
care about music. What do you want from me? Like, this is why I'm on earth. So
Yeah.
that's that's funny. Well, you know what? I think that's a big important thing too. Is this, especially if, you know, there's a lot of younger musicians listening and stuff too. Is there's going to be times where you have to make, you know, crazy sacrifices and really strong decisions, and
Yeah.
yeah, it just goes back to trusting your gut and stuff. And it seems like you guys have been able to stick through that. And do you feel like it's made you? Do you feel like any of that kind of was brought into the album at all? Into
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, the reason it's called Just Existing is like we were trying to, the EP before it had such a strong concept and like it had a common thread through all of it. And when we were trying to figure out what the deal was with with this album was like um it didn't feel like that. It just felt like a journal. It felt like kind of like a bunch of things like scrapbook together. And so just existing was just kind of this way of like, these are just a bunch of kind of like independent snapshots from all these different points in our lives. I think probably going back farther than we probably realized at the time, in terms of what we were writing about. Yeah, so I mean, I think it's definitely there. I think I mean, a lot of these ideas are um, decently old, like they've been around for a while, and it's just kind of now we've been able to figure out how to like reframe them and recontextualize them in a way that feels good.
yeah, and I guess in that sense too, like moving on to like your new track, Ego. From what I understand from the press release, you're saying how you wanted to write it as un-Aidan as possible,
Yeah.
where you wanted to try to like almost like a songwriting exercise. So kind of how does that sort of outer body or out of mind kind of mentality play into just existing?
Not so much into the rest of the songs. I think Ego was like a one-off experiment. I don't know, I was really into I would just go on Wikipedia and hit like random article and
Yeah.
I would just read whatever. I just wanted to like, I don't know what my thought process was, but then I found I think it's I think it's just a page for like Freud's theory of ego and superego and id and stuff. So I just was like, maybe I was kind of stuck on songwriting. So I was like, maybe I can just write a song about this and play each section as like as like the ego, the superego, the id, and kind of see if I can write from these different voices lyrically and stuff. So it was a one-off thing. I feel like there's definitely traces of what I'm talking about in ego in the rest of the album, but it was like this huge experiment that just happened to work out basically.
Okay, yeah, that's not a bad thing, you know.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's a great song too, and it kind of, at least
Thanks.
you know, cohesively with your sound. It's you guys are very rhythmic and stuff, like I was saying before. So you know, it all fits like glue
Cool.
to some extent, right? Out of curiosity, speaking of Wikipedia, did you ever play that like article go from point A to point B game?
Yes, I did. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Have you guys done that on your Twitch stream yet?
No, that's a good idea though.
Yeah, I might. If I don't do it first, you might as well. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
other people have done it, obviously. But yeah, speaking of Twitch and stuff, because I know you guys are on there now too. We were just talking about this before we started this interview. But first off, don't forget to follow me on Twitch, people, at Dusty Organ. But also, Days are on there too. And how important, I feel like a lot of, especially nowadays with lockdown and whatever, artists are finding new ways to really connect with their community. And how much has your stream been a part of that for you guys?
Yeah, man, it's been crazy. I'm really glad we got into it when we did. Before that, we were kind of doing we were doing Instagram lives and stuff like that, but it wasn't as, I don't know, if it was a bit more limited. So to what you could do. So yeah, I mean, it's been super fun. I feel like I'm still working on all the kinks and trying to make it more immersive for people, a bit more like on brand, and yeah, just make it a more exciting thing to watch. But I mean, it's been really cool to like connect with people, and we've made a lot of new friends through that too.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, people that would have otherwise probably not have seen us on Instagram or Twitter or something. So yeah, it's been really cool.
Yeah, I find that's a big difference, is because I looked into Instagram Live and stuff too as an option for myself, and yeah, I think limiting is the right word. Like it just doesn't give you that much reach to strangers really, and I feel like Twitch is just a much better platform for connecting directly with people. I feel like you can actually converse properly with, chats and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think the layout is more yeah, I think it's easier to, I don't know, it's easier to, I just feel like I can do anything on there. I can do any game. I can screen share. I can show people demos. For Instagram Live, it's like I could show you an old demo if I played it loud enough through a speaker, so
yeah, that's true. And
yeah.
you guys have done some pretty like weird stuff on there too. I tuned in a couple of weeks ago, and you guys were collecting like points to see for somebody until it's like smack you or something, like the slap, the iconic slap.
The slap, yeah. Yeah, for some reason, especially on Twitch, I know it's a joke, so I hope they're okay with me saying this, but there seems to be a collective there was a collective decision made to just kind of bully me. So I like playing into that. I like playing into it, but it's in good fun. It's a joke.
Yeah. Did that have to do with the hat stacking thing you guys do too?
Yeah, you can add a hat if you donate, or if you use the channel points and stuff. Yeah. So I've had like every hat. The last stream was like put on every hat in your house. So it was pretty.
Wow.
It wears down on your neck after a while.
I was gonna say it got pretty high. It looked like
it was high. It was heavy too.
You wouldn't think that though,
Yeah.
I guess maybe the next step would be like layers of t-shirts or something, like try to.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you've seen that episode of Friends where Joey Tribbiani, out of spite, wears all of Chandler's clothes or something.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Okay, see, there you go. You guys don't need me. What am I doing? Save these ideas for my own stream. And speaking of changes and stuff and readapting and things, because I know a lot of your earlier singles, you guys had mentioned that they were kind of written based on your experience touring, and because you guys have done quite a bit of touring for a young band. Like you guys went to Europe for a couple shows and across Canada and stuff.
Yeah,
it's amazing. It was Tessa Violet, right? That brought you along, or?
Yeah, for we've been lucky to do the US 3 times now. So she was the latest time. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and yeah, a lot of the songs I think you were kind of written through that experience, trying them on stage and whatnot. And obviously this new record has been more of a studio process. How do you kind of compare the two? Like what are some differences? What's more fun for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tougher now, I think, to not be able to test it as easily with a live audience. But I think the main difference is we just got better at it. I think trusting more in, or like focusing more on, is the actual just the songwriting good. So like I've been kind of like leaking the songs on Twitch or like Instagram and like just playing them like acoustic, to see if that holds up, see what kind of reaction I get from people. Um, yeah, I mean, I think the focus, especially with just existing and even with the stuff now we're working on for the next thing, is like just songwriting. So if it can just stand alone as chords and vocals, then we're good, and then we can, you know, worry about production later. But I mean, yeah, I would love to have toured these songs before we recorded them. We were lucky to do that with some of them, but I don't know. I'm getting used to being like a more in the studio, but I miss being able to like have the song bounce off real people.
Yeah, actually, I want to go back again to like square one about, you know, you're playing music with your friends and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Uh, how how is that? Because, you know, watching you guys interact and stuff online, you guys seem very, you know, very brotherly and stuff. And in terms of being in a band together, it almost feels like a, I guess you're kind of part of the Bassett, you're like the Bassett third twin, right? The triplet.
Yeah.
How's that been? Like, do you guys have a lot of, does it go well? Any fights, you know, stuff like that?
Uh, that it's funny that you say that because their dad calls me, I think, the third son or the third brother. Um,
That makes
yeah, I
sense. Yeah.
mean, yeah, we're super. It's kind of crazy the amount of stuff we've had to all go through as just the three of us. Um, Even before, like when there were different versions of this band and it wasn't just three of us in the band and stuff, like for some reason it was always just the core three of us that would have to do a lot of that stuff and kind of get put through the most crap, unfortunately. So yeah, I mean, yeah, brothers is right. It feels very um yeah, I mean, brotherly. I you know, basically lived at their house for most of 2019. We live really close to each other. We're all like back in before we moved in together, we were basically could just walk to their house and stuff, and like we were always, I don't know, it's been yeah, I guess brothers is a good way to put it. I feel like in terms of arguments and stuff, I mean, probably a healthy amount. We're pretty much on the same page most of the time, so it's not, especially living together, that makes it a lot easier to I don't know, communicate things better than maybe like a group chat would or something. So yeah, it
That's good.
hasn't been like any huge fights or anything really. It's
I'm just
we
trying to
kind
pull
of
some gossip out of you. Yeah.
yeah yeah, no, we get each other's vibe by now.
That's good. Yeah, I
Yeah,
hope so. Like over 15 years later.
yeah.
So that's cool. And, you know, but I think it's really important too that you guys, like you said, you've gone through some, you know, trials and tribulations together.
Mhm.
Um, what sort of experiences have you kind of faced at this point of your career, you know, as young musicians determined to, you know, do this as a craft? Like, what are some, you know, just as a warding on, not warding, but you know, experience passing on to other musicians?
Oh, um,
Anything you could talk about at least, because I know
yeah.
I don't want to throw
uh,
any shade.
well, I don't know. I mean, like you said before, like trust your gut is a huge one. Um, and even if it feels kind of I don't know, kind of cold or maybe mean at the time, to like trust your gut on how you feel about certain people, especially if that person is going to be like either trying to make music with you or make something with you or be on your team in some capacity. um, you know, just usually I found usually trusting, yeah, your instinct on things is not a bad idea.
Anything specific?
Anything specific?
Any stories you want to share? You don't have to.
No,
We
no,
don't have to
that's
turn this into
cool.
a therapy session. So
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I nothing crazy really. It's I unfortunately, like, I mean, we've had a lot of, you know, the classic like different members in the band having fights with like fallout with people over creative differences and you know, but I mean, we were like 15, 16, so it was like kind of, I guess it comes with the territory, but
yeah, just
um
raging hormones at the time. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, specifically not, you know, nothing crazy, super like, you know, Rolling Stone gossip column kind of thing, but like, yeah, I don't know. mainly just I think the hardest thing, the biggest thing for us was like trying to figure out how to stay true to what we wanted to do, and not let that be influenced by a label or a possible deal, or yeah, we had a lot of people when we were like, I think in like 2017, we had a bunch of different, I don't know how much I can say, but like a bunch of different labels in Canada and a few in the US, like talking to us. And there were more than 3 of us in the band at the time. And it was kind of just a weird dynamic to try and figure out as like more as that many people. And yeah, I think it kind of leaked into how we were making stuff, and kind of brought a lot of doubt and kind of slowed us down in the long run. So if there's any kind of warning, I would just say, I don't know, stay true to yourself as much as you can, and don't be afraid to say no to things if you don't feel 100% right about them.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that, like around 2017, because was that for your track Role Model? I know it's gone through some changes. Was that the same music video where you guys packed into a truck and bumped around?
Yeah,
Yeah,
in the back of the van.
yeah. Was that was still Role Model, right?
That was Role Model, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's a perfect example, I think, where it's like kind of, around the same time. Well, I think it was 2017, 2018. I don't want to rewrite your own history
like
here.
earlier 2018, yeah.
Yeah, and kind of popped out the other time with this big hit with Tessa Violet. Is that like an example of like that noticeable change where you've just wanted to be truer to yourselves? Like, do you feel like that's an example for people to kind of get from you guys?
The version with Tessa?
Yeah, because I feel like that song has like 2 different versions, like one more kind of rocky and the other one more electro pop.
Oh, right. I mean, yeah, that was like, yeah, that was us. That wasn't an external influence really, or anything. We just kind of felt like, I mean, we toured with her and she was like, "Oh, I love the song. I would love to like." The original idea was like we just did like this acoustic cover version with her on tour at first, and then we just kind of kept talking about it, and we knew that we were possibly gonna tour again together. And it was like, right, yeah, it came together right before the lockdown, unfortunately. So, but yeah, I mean, then it just kind of went from there, and we were talking more, and she just really liked the song, and we really liked what she was doing. So, yeah, it was a bit weird because like that was the first song we had put out since Role Model, and it was just Role Model again.
Yeah.
So I felt a little weird about that, and I didn't want people to kind of get the vibe that we were like, I don't want to say selling out, but like, like that we were like doing this like industry strategy gameplay thing. We were really just like, we weren't. We just thought Tessa was dope, and she thought she really liked the song. So, yeah, I think that was a thing of like, do I actually really want to do this? Do I feel like there's some sort of influence coming onto us? And I was like, no, I actually really want to do this. So staying true to ourselves in that. Yeah, I guess in that regard. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of bands they start to get a little bit of heat on them when you can hear that sonic shift into more, I don't want to say label pop, but you get that very
industry
noticeable,
friendly.
yeah, very industry friendly kind of electro pop thing. But it's always reassuring to know that it's not the case. So especially,
yeah, I mean, it's yeah, I that's always a concern of mine, that people will kind of, I mean, I shouldn't care what people think really about that, but that people, it's concerning to me that maybe people get that vibe that we're like trying to be label friendly or something. But really, I mean, the music we're making now and the sound we shifted to is what we were trying to do in like 2017. We just didn't know how to do it, and there were more people involved, so it was harder to get that to kind of push through in the songwriting and stuff. So now that there's 3 of us and we're all really on the same page, I feel like that's the reason it's kind of happening now.
That's amazing. Yeah, cool. And yeah, with this track Ego too, you're saying that, I think, was it Nolan or Carson sent you some beats over, and you kind of just sat down. Yeah, Carson sent them over, and you just kind of sat down with them and reconstructed them. So, that's a perfect example of how really you guys are on the same page musically, which is always exciting, especially with newer acts and stuff like that. So it's going to be very promising future, I'm sure. When is the have you guys announced at this point the release date? I feel like I forgot to ask you for Just Existing, or is it just the?
We're gonna say in the fall.
Okay, so everyone, just the fall.
Yeah,
just,
October.
October.
Yeah,
give or take.
Yeah,
who knows? Things change.
Yeah,
and anything else you want to just mention too? Like I know you guys got your Twitch going. You got the new album coming out, new single, Ego.
I mean, yeah, I think. I mean, thanks for having us. It's been cool to. It was cool that you were just in the stream one day.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's true. That's kind of how this whole thing came to be. You guys, I think you posted on Twitter, and I was like, oh well, I'm Twitch streaming, and let me go see what they're doing. And it's you can tell you guys are having so much fun just goofing around back there. And
yeah, man, it's fun.
I love the. I'm not sure if it's ever intentional or not, but I feel like Nolan and Carson are always kind of bookending you. Like there's one of them on the side.
Yeah.
So it's like this perfect comedic trio of just like,
that's funny.
A couple of what's the Three Stooges kind of thing doing
the Three Stooges.
Yeah. And you guys actually got me on that GeoGuessr game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. After watching that, I was like, maybe I should do that. So it's tough. It's fun though.
Yeah, it's really fun.
So, anyways, Aidan, I'll let you. Thanks again for taking the time and coming up on the podcast. Of course. Don't forget to check out their new song Ego and their music video, and Just Existing is their upcoming debut. Right? Yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah, we can
this
say that.
Fall. Yeah, I guess we'll say like label debut or official 100% kind of status sort of debut. Yeah. So it's always exciting. Yeah. But thanks so much, Aidan.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.